presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are so.
Beautiful day for baseball in Atlanta and Turner Field as we welcome you to Sunday Braves, a great tribute to the troops. As the Braves and Baltimore Orioles meet in the final game of this three-game series, the Braves try to sweep them away and earn their 50th win of the season. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South is brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Make it a Hyundai Sunday every week on Fox Sports South. Hi again, friends. Joe Simpson, Tom Glavine, Chip Carey. Welcome back to the ballpark. A star-spangled day for Braves baseball. Again, our tribute to the troops and a big day for the Braves. 4 All-Stars named today, Joe Simpson.
Yeah, it's a great day for all those guys. And first of all, Brian McCann gets voted in as the starter. So it's his 6th All-Star appearance, his first as a starter. Good for him. And how about Chipper Jones getting picked as well? It's his 7th appearance. He leads the third baseman in the National League in RBIs. He's second in fewest errors. And then you got Johnny Venters on there, too. And, of course, Jair Jurgens made it. He's leading the league in a lot of different pitching categories. One notable omission, Craig Kimbrell, tied for the league lead in saves, did not make it.
That's something I'm sure we'll be talking about as the day goes on. And Brandon Beachy, Tommy, pitching great baseball, perhaps an all-star game in his future, but the present's awfully good, too.
Well, he's pitching like an all-star since coming off the disabled list. You see the numbers there in his last 2 starts. He's been outstanding, 2-0, winning back-to-back starts for the first time in his career, and I suspect it won't be the last time if he continues to do what he's doing. Been really, really good, and the first Brave in modern history to win back-to-back games, rookie to win back-to-back games and have 20 strikeouts in those 2 games, so he's definitely on a roll.
And the Baltimore Orioles saw his performance against the Seattle Mariners. They came away very impressed. They'll get him up close and personal as the Braves try to sweep away the Birds. Game 3 of the series, first pitch, starting lineups on a hot, muggy day in Atlanta. It's all coming up next. Atlanta, getting us set for all the festivities of the 4th of July tomorrow. It is indeed a star-spangled day at Turner Field, our tribute to the troops. A lot of members of the military in attendance today, and we thank them for their exceptional service. Atlanta tries to sweep away the Orioles. Braves won Game 1 behind a one-hitter from Jurgens, 4-0. Won last night 5-4. Baltimore got some home runs from Mark Reynolds, but not much else. And today, Brandon Beachy tries to finish off the sweep.
His 11th start of the year. He's 3-1, and as Tom said, he's won back-to-back starts since coming back from the DL. 12 innings. He's walked 3 and struck out 20 over those 2 ball games, and just a .210 opponent average against him. If you look up and down the Braves starters, all of them have very low averages against. He is 24 years old, 6'3", 215 pounds, out of Kokomo, Indiana, and as you recall, an undrafted free agent. His 4 pitching keys to success: he had a super changeup in Seattle. He'll hope to have that working today to go with his fastball and curve. And right-handed hitter mastery, if you've got a .210 average against you, that's pretty good. But right-handers are only hitting .195 against him because of that good curveball that he employs against them. So hopefully both his curve and his change are working today.
Here's how the Braves line up behind Brandon tonight: McLeod, Schaefer, and Hayward. Chipper Jones, an all-star, is over at third base, and Brian McCann will be the all-star starting catcher for the National League when we head down to Phoenix for the all-star festivities.
Deservedly so. Good for him. He's, as we've said, his first time being voted in, and he deserves it. He's been phenomenal all year long for the Braves.
And with the injuries that have been plaguing Joe Mauer over the last 2-3 years, you got to figure Brian McCann, all around catching and offense, best catcher in baseball.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody any better.
So Beachy's ready to go on a hot, muggy Sunday. J.J. Hardy is the Orioles' leadoff man and shortstop. And he looks at a ball high.
37, game time temperature, 91 degrees.
91 degrees with no wind. And deep in the hole, Lugo. Long throw, not in time. First hit of the series for J.J. Hardy. A leadoff infield hit.
Tough play for anybody. Lugo getting tested right away, and he did everything he could to try to get his feet set, but Hardy beat it out.
Isn't that always the way? You
yeah.
Give a guy a day off, and right away, first play, we're sitting here saying, I wonder if Alex would have made that play.
Markakis, the batter, had his 19-game hitting streak snapped here on Friday night, but began a new streak with a vengeance last night with 3 hits, including a homer.
Yeah, maybe they should have just let him get his hit and keep his hitting streak alive and not wake a sleeping giant.
Line drive into center field. Markakis, and the Orioles have 2 on with nobody out.
Well, if there's an inning that kind of rears its ugly head against Brandon sometimes, it's the first inning. Of the 20 runs he's allowed this year, 7 have come in the first inning. That looked like a breaking ball he just left upstairs.
Something about which you can relate.
I was going to say, I mean, I know how he feels, you know, and like I said, I prefer to look at it as you're just getting it out of the way. You're going to have an inning, just get it out of the way and move on. But certainly you don't want to have too many of these type of innings in this kind of heat. You want to try and keep your stress level to a minimum.
Foul ball off the bat of Adam Jones, straight back.
One thing we've noticed in this series in the first 2 games, these guys go after that first pitch with a vengeance. Every one of them up and down their lineup.
Well, that's the kind of thing you've got to take note of. And as a pitcher, like I've said so many times, and you take the approach that it's 0-2 the minute that guy gets in the box and you're trying to make a nasty pitch right away.
Some were surprised that this young man, Adam Jones, did not get named to the All-Star team. .288 average, 13 homers, 46 runs batted in. Gold Glover last year.
I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot as the day goes on, but it happens every year. There's a number of guys every year that you kind of scratch your head and say, man, how did this guy not make it? And obviously for Braves fans today, it's going to be Craig Kimbrell that everybody's going to be talking about. But it happens. I don't care if you have 100 guys on the roster. There's going to be one guy that gets left off that you think should be on the team.
There's a nasty pitch. Beachy racking up strikeouts in his last 2 starts. That's his first today.
That nice slider that starts, looks like it's a strike coming out of the hand and just keeps on going, and Jones couldn't do anything with it.
And speaking of first pitch swings,
we saw that, didn't we? Mark Reynolds hit 2 long home runs last night. Nearly hit a 3rd one, and then was struck out in the 8th. Ball 1.
And smart to start him with a curveball. Matt Wieder's not playing today. He's made the All-Star team for the American League, but he gets a day off today. So Reynolds in the cleanup spot.
Do you like facing guys like this, Tommy? Big power, but also a ton of strikeouts?
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to face this kind of guy versus the guy that was, kind of the line drive gap-to-gap guy, because those guys tended to stay on my sinker and my changeup better. These kind of guys, you knew they were all or nothing. So, I always felt like as long as I located down, and particularly with off-speed stuff, they were going to have a tough time. But if you got one up, they were going to make you pay for it.
2 balls and a strike. Reynolds has led the National League in strikeouts the last 3 years. He's cut down on his strikeouts this year. He has 82 of them, though, in 259 at-bats.
It's a big, long swing, but boy, oh boy, his point of contact is always out front, and that's why the ball jumps. Nothing short about that.
Three and two.
His changeup was so good in Seattle. I wouldn't be surprised to see him throw it here 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, with those kind of numbers on strikeouts, he's got to have something working other than his fastball. Something off speed there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was either.
Yeah, just didn't quite have the finish on the one that he threw to Jones, but
there's the strikeout. Baltimore gets the first 2 runners on. The next 2 hitters strike out. And now Derek Lee bats.
Some high cheese, and he hadn't even got his real good fastball working yet. That was 92. He'll pop it at 94 at times. It's kind of neat to see every guy come up there and congratulate Brian McCann, too, on his all-star start.
A strike to Derek Lee, a former Brave. Derek 2 hits in the series. Both of those came last night.
Day off for Alex. Everybody wants to play, especially those guys that are used to playing every day, but you're going to get a day off. 90s with high humidity day game, that's a good one to take a rest.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he's not sitting down in the dugout in the shade or down in the tunnel where it's cool. Make the most of it.
Talked to Chipper before the game, and I was a little surprised to see him in the lineup today. But he told me that he probably will get a cortisone shot in his knee after the game, and he feels like that'll give him 2 days off, basically the rest of today and then up until the night game tomorrow to recover from it. He thinks he'll be able to play, if not tomorrow, certainly the next day.
How about Beachy? He's getting loose. Gave up 2 hits to start the game and then struck out the next 3 Orioles swinging. Heck of a job by Brandon Beachy. Struck out 3 Orioles in the top of a scoreless first. And welcome back to our tribute to the troops here on July 3rd at Turner Field. Braves trying to sweep away the Baltimore Orioles. Fans will say thank you very much if that can happen. And here's how Fredi Gonzalez lines them up. Braves have won, by the way, 9 straight games against the American League. Julio Lugo gets the start at shortstop. As Joe mentioned, he bats 8th for Fredi Gonzalez.
For the Orioles, a guy I've been anxious to see pitch, Zach Britton, 23, 6'3", 195 out of Weatherford, Texas. 6-6, but a very good ERA. He's got an excellent sinker and a hard slider. His 4 keys to success, he's got to have that sinker working today. That's somewhere 88 to 92. He's got a back foot slider. That's his best pitch to right-handers. He got to crank his 4-seamer up there a little harder, too, around 93, 94.
It's kind of been a tale of 2 seasons for him so far. Got off to a good start, pitched real well early on, and lately he's just had a tough time getting any wins.
Last year won the Jim Palmer Award. That's the Orioles' honor for their top minor league pitcher. He was 10-7 in 26 starts.
And early on, he was, according to their notes, first Orioles rookie starter with 3 wins by April 21st. First Orioles rookie starter with 4 wins in April. And there's been some pretty darn good young arms that have come up through this organization.
That got everybody behind the plate. George Schaefer now at 2-2 count.
Oh, man, that had to hurt.
It's hard to follow the ball off the backside of your knee on the back leg, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of course, it's hard to bunt a ball off your nose, too, and he's done that. So.
Line drive up the middle.
When Jordan gets in those ruts where he's trying to lift the ball too much, I was asking Larry Parrish about it yesterday, and he said he knows he's doing it, and he's fighting it. He finds these little grooves like he's in right now where he's trying to hit the ball up the middle into the opposite field, and he finds it and he feels it, and he knows when he's not doing it. So he said recognition of that is at least one step.
Well, that's the big thing for young players, is to recognize what they're doing wrong, which is a big step. But then you have to implement the corrections, and that's not always an easy thing to do either. But I've listened to him talk a little bit and read some things, and I know he's had some conversations with his dad about, what are your thoughts against left-handed pitchers? Are you struggling? And he maintains he feels comfortable, and he sure looked good that at bat right there.
Yeah, he's not flinching.
And that's been one stat that has stuck out for the Braves this year. They've beaten left-handed pitchers, but they've not hit them very hard. The team batting average only .215. And an on-base percentage of .287.
And yet they're 14-11 against left-handed starters. That's hard to figure. Again, good pitching.
And I think in some aspects it's kind of indicative of what their offense has been like all year long. I mean, I think we've all watched and thought, man, they're not clicking, they're not this, they're not that. You always think there's more coming. But right now they're in that mode where they seem to be making the most of what they are doing, and they've certainly done that against left-handers.
Another half step on Schaefer's lead from first. And Jason missed a ball off the plate, and he's out number one.
Well, there's that good slider, and again with the video and the scouting reports and everything that everybody has on guys nowadays, you can know that he has that pitch in his repertoire all day long, but until you sit in the batter's box and actually see it, it's tough to know what it's about, and I'm sure Jason's going to file that in the back of his brain for the next time up.
All-star Chipper Jones. Bats with a man aboard and one out. Schaefer's running. The pitch is low. Tatum's throw is not in time. His 10th stolen base. Looked like a perfect throw. How did he get in?
I thought he was out.
Me too. Davis must have missed the tag. Tagged him on the back of the upper arm. Maybe his hand got in there.
We'll take it.
So Chipper ahead in the count. As we talked about, Joe, last night, if there's an area where Chipper has shined this year, it's situations like this one here in the first.
Men on base, runners in scoring position. How about that? He's an all-star, you know.
Yes, he is.
That's chopped off the plate. Reynolds at third, bobbles, and all hands are safe. Infield hit. And first and third for Atlanta.
What was he trying to do there?
Well, I think that was one of those ones where he thought he had the backhanded, and coming off the plate with like that, you don't ever know how much the ball's spinning, and I don't think he had a chance to barehand that ball. And I think he had more time than he probably thought he did.
Yeah. Ball must have just taken a little spin out of the grass back toward the third baseline on him because it actually hit his bare hand.
He's had a tough year with the glove, though, Reynolds. And now McCann hits with a chance to give the Braves a first inning lead. First and third, one out. The only question for Brian McCann in the All-Star game now is who's going to throw the first pitch of the game for the National League. Brian's going to catch it. He's the starter. Will it be Roy Halladay? Will it be Jair Jurgens? Will it be someone else?
I hope it's one of those two. They're the most deserving, I think. Sure would be nice to see JJ.
Ripped and fouled at first. 1-2.
Brian's the first Atlanta Braves player to make the All-Star team in each of his first 6 full years in the big leagues.
Ball, 2 strikes. So Braves with 4 All-Star representatives. We'll show you the entire list of the National League All-Stars in our next inning. And then the arguing will start.
Yes. Well, it's already started.
Yeah.
Well, I mean in the booth. Yeah.
Oh.
Are arguing.
Late swing and a miss for McCann. And Britton has his second strikeout.
He threw him back-to-back sliders that were up a little bit that he pulled foul and came back with it for the 3rd time, but got it down in the zone a little bit more where he wanted it, and Brian swung over the top of it.
He's got to be wondering what's going on here. He's probably never seen this many left-handed batters in a lineup on purpose.
Which can throw you off a little bit, you know. I mean, when you're not used to seeing it, definitely changes your game plan.
As much as you like to use your changeup, when you had a left-hander up there, did it make the plate shrink on you a little bit? Did it feel that way?
You know what? It just, for me, it changed what I was looking at. I was so locked in against a right-hander to know where I was trying to go and where I was starting the ball, what I was looking at, that all of a sudden a lefty would get up there and you'd see so much of the other side of the plate that it kind of threw off my vision in terms of where I was trying to get the ball to finish. You know, but I definitely would go into a game if I knew a team was heavily left-handed. I would try to prepare in the bullpen knowing that, all right, they're going to see a lot of left-handers, so I would still throw my changeup, but it wasn't as good as it was against righties, so I'd work more on my slider and my breaking ball, thinking that, all right, I'm going to have to use these pitches a little bit more, and that's why I say for Zach, you know, when you're not used to seeing these many guys, I don't know if he's predominantly slider or changeup, but it can change how much he uses either one of those pitches.
2 balls and a strike. I would think that'd be a great weapon for an offense. Take away your best weapon, make you adjust.
Well, and that was what happened to me for a little while there, because I didn't throw very many, if any, changeups against lefties, and teams would start loading up with lefties against me, and they had success doing it.
Bouncing ball right to Derek Lee, and both the Braves and Orioles threaten but fail to score in inning number 1 in the series wrap-up at Turner Field. The second, here's a look at the National League's All-Star roster. First of all, the starters, fellas, any surprises on this list?
There were a couple of late additions at the voting, like Ricky Weeks taking over at second base. Those Milwaukee fans, man, they're turning out in droves at Miller Park, and they've got some of their players on the starter list.
Yeah, I think he's the only one that's marginally questionable there. I mean, Prince Fielder, I think, was a late surge as well, but I think his numbers are definitely worthy of being a starting first baseman.
Yeah, Jose Reyes got a late surge and passed Troy Tulowitzki, but Reyes has a hamstring problem. He got hurt yesterday, so that might shuffle the deck a bit as far as the National League's concerned. As Beachy delivers a strike to Luke Scott.
Weeks passed Brandon Phillips in the last week, and Fielder passed Joey Votto in the last week.
Well, it's good for baseball that Milwaukee's getting that kind of numbers in their ballpark, that they're able to get those kind of votes and pass those guys.
And their fans are probably wondering, too, is this the last year that Prince Fielder will represent Milwaukee in the All-Star game? He's a free agent, too, along with Cardinals' Albert Pujols. And some have said a likely destination for one of those two guys might be Baltimore. 4 straight strikeouts for Beachy, 1 away in the second. Here's the reserve list for the National League.
Kind of like those 3 A's. Gabby Sanchez over 40 RBIs, good for him. Votto, of course, the defending MVP. Brandon Phillips had the lead until the last week. Tulowitzki, arguably the best offensive shortstop in the game.
Yeah, I think all worthy.
Andre Ethier, one of the notable absentees there. Andrew McCutcheon as well. But you can't have 15 outfielders.
I believe both of those guys are eligible, though, for the fan vote for the final All-Star spot. As Craig Tatum, catcher, rolls out to the shortstop, Julio Lugo. And some in Braves country upset that there are so many Giants represented for the National League. Of course, the manager, Bruce Bochy, is the National League All-Star skipper.
Yeah, the thing of it is, Hanrahan, Wilson, and Houston Street all tied with Craig Kimbrell with 24 saves at the top of the league, but Houston Street didn't get picked either. And we were talking about this before the game, Tommy, about the manager's selections. There were years Bobby Cox took some heat, too, for picking some of his players. And so, you know what? Bruce Bochy's entitled to, I guess.
He's entitled to it. And really, of those Giants, I mean, the only one that's semi-questionable is Lincecum, only because he's got a 6-6 record, which people aren't necessarily accustomed to with him. But, you know, he's top of the league in strikeouts, innings pitched. He's certainly being rewarded for the work he's done the last 2 years for Bruce Bochy. And you know what? Hey, as the manager, you get that perk.
And those are the 5 men on the National League final vote list. Todd Helton will be in town with Colorado here tomorrow.
You know, I think, too, we talked about, Joe, I'm curious as to the dynamic of what went into the choice between Johnny Venters and Craig Kimbrell. You know, because like we talked about, 3 years ago it would have been automatic that the closer goes. Mm-hmm. You know, and so that's a change that has been a recent, you know, has come up of recent years where they're looking more at those setup guys. But, you know, I'm curious. I mean, I think both those guys deserve to be there. I'm just curious what thought process went into why Johnny over Craig.
I didn't see the whole list. How many left-handed pitchers are there on the National League squad? That might be a factor as well. As another strikeout for Beachy. He's got 5 of them already, folks, and he did that inning in just 9 pitches. He's rolling merrily along.
country. This is Scott Evans from Bluebell Ice Cream. In honor of today's tribute to the troops, Bluebell has made a donation to the USO to honor our brave men and women serving in the military. From all of us at Bluebell,
thank you. And thank you, Bluebell. And I'll bet you the troops are enjoying some of that on this hot, sticky day at the TED.
Send some up here.
You know, that's an excellent idea.
Somewhere around the 7th inning.
I mean, how do they get so much good stuff in a carton that size? How do they do it?
Yeah, you're sounding like my grandfather. How do they make it so cheap but taste so good? So here we go to the second inning. Ugla McLeod and Julio Lugo were Hansen and Kimbrell snubbed in the National League.
I'm going to say it was going to be harder for Tommy to make it, personally, because of all the good starting pitching in the National League. But for Craig Kimbrell, that is a bit of a snub, given he's tied for the league lead in that category and leads all relievers in strikeouts.
Ground ball toward third. Good pickup, Reynolds. One out.
I need to double check, too, to see if there are any other Washington Nationals on the roster other than Tyler Clippard.
There's not.
Because I think that might have been one reason why Craig didn't get in there.
And that's my big problem with the All-Star game. If it's going to determine home field advantage, then you're making it something other than what it is, which is an exhibition game. If it's not an exhibition game, then shouldn't you carry the best 25 or 30 players? And in doing so, then, that means you really can't afford to take a player from every team. Am I wrong there?
No, I think that's a very valid argument, and I think that's one that's going to get more and more play.
I mean, taking nothing away from Tyler Clippard, I don't want to say he should or shouldn't be an all-star, but I think it's safe to say that you'd probably rather have Craig Kimbrell than Tyler Clippard pitching in an all-star game. Wouldn't you?
I think it goes to that thing that if you're an all-star, you're the best of the best. Not just, yeah, but we had to get some from everybody. It's kind of like every kid gets a trophy in Little League. Why? If you finish last, why do you get a trophy?
I agree. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, and I struggle a little bit with using the word snub because it almost makes it seem like, well, the manager didn't want you and he took somebody else instead of you. I think a lot of times the manager's hands are tied. Like you say with this, everybody's got to be represented. And, you know, there are certain things, you know, like as Chip and I were talking in the break, you know, part of the decision in taking Johnny Venters over Kimbrell might be that Johnny's the only left-hander in that bullpen.
Oh.
So, you know, that goes into the equation as well, as it should.
Nate's down on strikes, 2 outs.
You know, especially for a guy like Bochy, whose team is in the thick of things, who might very well benefit from the outcome of that game. Doesn't he have to look at it in some aspect of, well, I need to round my roster out a little bit here and give myself some flexibility in certain areas if I'm really going to go about this thing to try and win versus trying to get everybody in a game and make everybody happy.
Let me get to a debate with you on that just a little bit, though. And that is that the only people, I mean, everybody that's on that pitching staff is in the bullpen except for the starters. And in that case, you got Hamels, Kershaw, and Lee, all left-handed starters who are going to be asked to come out of the bullpen if they're used. So you got them to complement Venters if you need them.
You do, but there again, if you're managing and you're trying to win that game, who would you rather have come in facing a nasty left-handed hitter, Johnny Venters or Cole Hamels, who never does it? Johnny does it every day.
In the 8th inning,
yeah,
especially.
So
lined and caught at second. What a catch by Davis to rob Julio Lugo. And that concludes our second inning. Told you we'd argue in this frame. And maybe we'll do it a little more when we come back at Turner Field for a scoreless third. We have a scoreless third inning on our hands. Baltimore coming up with the pitcher's spot, then leadoff man J.J. Hardy and Nick Markakis. With Joe Simpson, Chip Carey at the ballpark, and a very special guest with us, Major Mark Brown, the pride of what part of South Carolina?
Batesburg, South Carolina.
Great. Glad to have you here. We know you're a Braves fan.
Who?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for being here on our salute to the troops. Glad you're at the ballpark today.
Thank you.
And a baseball fan for sure, I guess.
Yes, sir.
And you might have one of the best jobs that I can think of in the military, as Zach Britton goes to work first. You're the commander of the Atlanta Personnel Assistance Point at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. I imagine you see a lot of happy, smiling faces in your job every day.
Yes, sir, we do. We manage the soldiers that are coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq on a 15-day rest and relaxation, which we refer to as R&R. Some of them have been gone from 3 to 9 months, and they're coming home and getting to see their family and friends for the first time.
I'll bet you could write a book on the wonderful, emotional scenes you see.
Definitely. Very heart-touching and get out the tissues.
Zach Britton, the pitcher, hits a ball a mile to deep right. Jason Hayward going back. That one is going to go. We told you early in this series the Orioles pitchers can hit. Britton hits it out and gives himself a 1-0 lead.
And a huge smile as he rounded third to high five Willie Randolph. He was 3 for 5 in his first 2 interleague games. Nothing cheap about this to that part of the park. Wow.
We don't like those kinds of greetings by the opposition in their dugouts.
What are they giving him? The silent treatment? Okay, now they're getting him.
Wow, his first big league hit came off Jason Marquis. Now a home run here in Atlanta. Yikes.
Major Brown, did you play baseball?
No, didn't play baseball. In high school, I played football, basketball, and ran track, and I ran track in college.
J.J. Hardy's 2 for 2 with a single up the middle. Well, how many folks are under your command out at Hartsfield? I'm sure a lot of fans who travel through that wonderful airport see you and your compatriots doing such great work. How many folks work with you?
We have 10 military members and 10 civilian contractors that run the Atlanta Personnel Assistance Point, and approximately we deal with 600 to 650 soldiers on a daily basis.
Wow, 650
that's great.
A day. Amazing. And how many of the have any of those folks come to the ballpark today that work with you? How many folks are here today?
Yes, sir. We have about 40 service members and about 25 family members that are here.
That's great. Nick Markakis, the batter. He singled his first time up. Baltimore's scored first. And a quick strike.
It must make you feel good, too, when you come to the ballpark or any other type of public setting, when you see the general public respond so strongly to you guys, like today on the pregame ceremony before the game. And everybody's on their feet as soon as they see all the military march in. It's got to be a good feeling for you, too.
It's a good feeling. I was telling one of the representatives from Fox Sports South that probably in my whole life is probably one of the most patriotic moments that I've had.
That's great. That's wonderful.
No balls and a strike. But as proud as I'm sure you are of your professional endeavors, 2011's been a wonderful year for you too, huh? A new
yes,
dad?
It has. New dad.
First one?
Third one.
Third one. All
yes,
right.
Sir.
Experience. Well, congratulations.
Thank
boy
you,
or girl?
Sir. A boy.
And the name?
Mark William Brown II.
Outstanding. Great. You always can tell when new parents, they get that
glow, yeah.
That ear-to-ear smile and glow.
Yep.
Freddie can't get that ball. It's into right field. And Hardy will move to third on the play. That's another hit. Baltimore's top 2 hitters are 2 for 2. And trouble afoot with the Orioles up a run.
That looked like a play Freddie has made, but didn't get out there in time to knock that one down. Just out of his reach. Well, with what you do, you can give me some good advice. Like when I'm in the airport, which we travel so much with the team, but if we're in the airport, and what can we do to help you?
Well, we've started something called Operation Welcome Home a Hero, where we welcome the soldiers that are coming back from theater, come out and show our support and welcome them home. And we also have started Operation Send Off. And for more information, you can contact the local USO at the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport.
Great. Well, we just saw, too, that Bluebell Dairy is making a nice donation to the USO, so they're taking part in all this. Good for them. Proud of them.
I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
On a nice 91-degree day, about 80% humidity. Are those camos as comfortable as they look?
They are very comfortable, sir.
Kidding me?
Yes, sir.
Long sleeves, long pants? Yikes.
Yes, sir. We're used to it.
I'll bet you are. And are you going to run the Peachtree tomorrow in the camos, or are you going to wear standard athletic attire?
I'm going to wear standard athletic attire, sir.
Okay. Have you run the Peachtree before?
Yes, I have.
How many times?
3 times.
And?
Typically, I'm shooting for an hour or less this year.
Wow, that's
good
flying.
for you.
10-minute miles.
Amazing. Good for you. No balls and a strike to Mark Reynolds.
Sounds like he's in shape, Chip.
Yeah. If he gives you any trouble, just pinch his head off over there. Reynolds down 0-2. Beachy could use a strikeout here. He got Reynolds swinging his first time up. Remember, Baltimore had a run of nearly 40 innings where they did not have a lead. That was ended in the 4th yesterday. But they had the lead for about 15 minutes because the Braves overcame a 2-0 deficit, scoring 5 times in that 4th inning. David Ross a grand slam. They lead today on a homer from their pitcher, Zach Britton. High fly ball into left center. That ought to be deep enough to bring home Hardy. There's the catch. The throw is cut off. And Reynolds with a sacrifice fly makes it a 2-0 Baltimore game.
.44th RBI for Reynolds. You know, Major Brown, we're seeing this wave of patriotism just about everywhere we go. Just about every ballpark has had something going on that included the military or a tribute to the military, including out in San Diego, where they're so good at honoring the military out there. And I think it was Marine Day, Chip, when we were out there.
It was, yes.
Gosh, just wonderful ceremony. Of course, the Padres quite often wear a camo uniform to honor the military. So it's something going around baseball, and I think most sporting venues, that we appreciate everything you guys are doing.
And we appreciate it also, sir.
A strike to Derek Lee. Well, Mark, it's been our pleasure to have you upstairs in the booth. Sorry we couldn't keep the game scoreless. Baltimore's jumped in front by a couple of runs, but to echo what Joe said, all of us salute you and are very, very thankful, and we hope to catch up with you on our travels through Hartsfield International Airport.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Major Mark Brown.
Enjoy the game.
Thank you.
Proud new papa, and he'll probably run a 9-minute mile at the Peachtree Road Race tomorrow. That's my guess. 1 ball, 1 strike to Derek Lee, the Orioles' first baseman. High fly ball left center. McLouth going back, measures it up and hauls it in, and that retires the side. Baltimore scores twice. The big blow, a home run from their pitcher, young Zach Britton, and it's 2-0. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South is brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT&T, by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. Baltimore strikes first as we head to the Braves half of inning number 3. Let's see if Brandon Beachy can do some damage against Zach Britton. Get your tickets now to see the world's greatest party band. The B-52s will be here. They'll perform a free post-game concert presented by Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines after the Braves and Nationals Saturday, July 16th. Get your tickets in advance at braves.com/B52s.
I was saying, is that self-proclaimed greatest party band, or did somebody vote on that? And if so, I want to know who.
I'm just the guy that reads the cards.
Widely known.
Britton strikes out Beachy. He's got 4 strikeouts in the game. And back to the top of the order we go with Jordan Schaefer. Braves had him first and third, 1 out in the first, couldn't break through.
He's already struck out more than he did in his last start when he pitched into the 6th inning against the Cardinals. Got beat 6-2. He's kind of like Jeremy Guthrie. 4 of his first 16 starts, he had no runs to work with while he was in the game.
They like this kid, justifiably so. 3rd round pick 5 years ago. And the Orioles, pretty much like every major league team these days, try to follow the model that the Braves had with Utami. Draft and develop your own pitching, stockpile it, and then trade the surplus for what you need offensively. It hasn't worked out yet. These youngsters haven't stepped forward as much as they would have liked after a terrific rebound under Buck Showalter.
Yeah, they started out hot and obviously have cooled down, and part of that is the division they play in. I mean, it's tough to go out in that division and play above your head, so to speak, all year long, but they've got some good young players.
A little high, 3 balls and a strike.
A couple of pitches that look pretty good in this sequence, though, that have gone Jordan's way. He's got a good arm, though. It's a little bit of a short arm delivery. Probably a little hard to pick up if you're a hitter. Ball's on you pretty quick. 2 pitches ago, a 94 fastball.
Yeah, it's kind of like Brandon Beachy in the sense that his windup's pretty simple, and all of a sudden, boom, that ball's on top of you in a hurry.
Toward third, Reynolds, good pick, good play. Hang out a gold star on that one from Reynolds. He got a fast runner with a perfect throw for the 2nd out.
He's made more errors than anybody in baseball at any position, 19 of them. But you wouldn't know it by watching that play.
No, that was a Gold Glove highlight play right there. Jordan probably wondering where that came from.
Yeah.
So Jason bats with the bases clear. 1 ball, no strikes. Braves right fielder has a 5-game hitting streak working. There's that sinker Joe was talking about.
I like anybody that throws in the low 90s and can go 2-seam or 4-seam depending on what they need and what they want out of it, and can control it. And this guy seems to have a good idea with both.
I don't know why more guys don't do it, but I mean, it gives you two pitches within one pitch, you know. And you hear so many people, he's fastball, curveball, changeup, whatever. But you know, when you've got a guy that can throw two different fastballs and locate both of them, man, that's a tough weapon.
That's called getting sawed off.
Just left with a baton in his hand. Phillies jumped all over Toronto again early, 4-0, 4-1 now, as Cliff Lee has had his shutout string snapped. He struck out 8 in his first 4 2/3. He somehow made the All-Star team.
Yeah, go figure. The Braves 4 games behind the Phillies. Hayward robbed at second. Davis with an acrobatic play stretches out and takes away a hit from Jason Hayward. 2 good defensive plays by Baltimore in the third, and the Orioles come up with a 2-run lead. On Fox Sports South is brought to you in part by Sherwin-Williams, by the Georgia Lottery, by Academy Sports and Outdoors, and by Chase. We welcome you back to Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South. It's brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. And on this Independence Day Eve, Braves looking to liberate their bats against the Great Britain of Baltimore.
That was beautiful. That was so nice.
Do you realize how late he stays up at night, Tom?
I can only imagine.
I think I almost made Joe sick last night.
Oh,
yeah.
It was brutal.
You know, it was Gone with the Wind night.
Yep.
Folks in the hoop skirts. Braves win the game. Look for the sweep. Of course, you have to say, because after all, tomorrow is another day.
Of course.
No, you don't have to say it.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, we could have the analysts do a joke. It's your choice.
I'm not doing jokes.
Nope.
Lugo to his right, loads up and takes care of Luke Scott. Leadoff man down for Brandon Beachy. 1 out for Tatum. Baltimore in the middle of a real tough road trip before the start of the All-Star break. As Tatum drives this ball to left. Baltimore 3 here in Atlanta. They head to Texas for 3 and finish up the first half with a 4-game series at Fenway Park against the Red Sox.
Nothing like a little zigzag trip. But I told Joe Angel, the radio announcer today, that we were just getting them ready, trying to fine-tune their game for the heat in Texas. Just warming them up. It's so warm today, Buck Showalter doesn't even have on a windbreaker.
Blake Davis bats. He struck out his first time. Is there a timetable for Brian Roberts to come back?
I think they would like for there to be one, but because of the concussion situation, you just don't know. Can't put a timetable on it.
Roberts a very, very good second baseman, a good offensive player. Tommy, did you hear how he got the concussion?
I did not. I was kind of hoping you would segue into that conversation.
Hit him with it, Joe.
More or less. The first one occurred when he got mad after striking out. He went back to the dugout and he hit himself in the head with a bat. He had a helmet on, but he did one of those cowabunga things, you know. And then he also dove back into first base and did something when he dove back into first. I'm not sure if he hit his head on the first baseman's leg or got hit with a throw, but it happened there to make it worse.
Jordan handles in left center. Peachy has his second 1-2-3 inning. Needs the bats to come to life for him. He's down 2-0 here in the fourth. Braves catcher David Ross, he hit a grand slam and provided us with our Geico quote of the day today.
It's a beauty. Talking about Tim Hudson and his fall in the first inning, he says, well, he's old. He's got bad hips and knees and stuff. Definitely older than me. He's got a lot of mileage on him. I'm a backup. I've got low mileage on me. I'm like a semi-used car. He's like an antique. There's reason to be concerned.
I'll be honest with you. This couldn't have happened to a better guy on the staff, really, because I don't think anybody would handle it as well as he does. He laughs at himself more than anybody I've been around, and I mean, to me, he handled that absolutely perfectly.
There's a saying when a guy goes down in baseball that the sniper got him, and Chipper said he came in, he said, I'm going to have the stadium security check the light towers. I think there might be somebody up there.
Chipper rolls to short. J.J. Hardy retires him. 9 straight Braves have been set down now.
Well, maybe with this weekend of saluting the troops, maybe there was one up there that was just working on a little firearm practice.
Yeah, right. Just took his feet out from under him.
Yeah, he was all over Sports Center last night. Talking to Tim today. His mailbox was pretty full, as you would imagine.
I can imagine.
I mean, he's a little bit like that guy that threw out the first pitch in San Diego a few days ago from Cirque du Soleil. There's some similarities. Flipping and jumping.
Into the seats for Brian McCann. 1 ball, 1 strike. Another roller to first. And 10 straight are set down. 2 outs. Bases clear. 4th of July is tomorrow. Still good seats available for the Braves and the Rockies and the #1 fireworks show in Atlanta. Presented by Publix and Captain America, the First Avenger. For tickets, visit Braves.com or dial 800-745-3000. Also a terrific pitching matchup for Game 1 of that Braves and Rockies series.
Tommy Hansen and Ubaldo Jimenez. You remember what Jimenez did the last time he pitched here back in April of 2010. Fired a no-hitter. Tommy looking for his 10th win.
Keep in mind, although Tommy was not named to the All-Star team today, there's a chance he still could be if a pitcher has an injury or is unable to participate by pitching on that final Sunday. That could open up a couple of roster spots. And if he wins his game tomorrow, get to double digits, you'd earn strong consideration, wouldn't you think?
I would think so.
I think Jurgensen is in a good position to be the starter because he pitches Wednesday, and unless he comes back on short rest against the Phillies, his next turn would be that next Monday, which is an off day before the All-Star game.
Well, Halliday's similar, isn't he? When did he pitch yesterday or the day before?
He pitched yesterday, but they have an off day coming up before the Braves series.
So he would probably pitch, what, Friday again?
Uh-huh.
Which, 3 days. Yeah, I mean, JJ would definitely be in a better place physically, but I'm sure if Halliday's asked to do it, it would not be something he would be worried about.
Meanwhile, the Braves have 2 hits. They were both in the first inning. They don't have a base runner since. No swing, and Freeman dropped the bat immediately and maybe helped sell that call. And just like that, the tying run comes to the plate potentially.
Might have gotten away with one, too. Our angle a little sharper than that of Tim McClellan, however.
Dan pulled the ball down the third base line. Reynolds snared that to start the second. And he swings the first pitch and rolls out to short. And that retires the side. Braves have 1 base runner since the first inning, and after 4, trail 2-0. Baltimore's half of the 5th inning. Zach Britton, J.J. Hardy, Nick Markakis coming up. That trio 5 for 5 today. And here's a look at what is the starting 9 for the American League's All-Star team.
Not that many surprises there except for the catching position. Alex Avila came on the last week and passed Russell Martin for the starting catcher nod.
Well, notable omissions on that team are CC Sabathia, John Lester, Teixeira,
Paul Konerko.
Konerko, wow. Teixeira didn't make it?
I don't see him on there. Wow. Miguel Cabrera is the backup. Adrian Gonzalez, the starter.
Texas second in the American League in homers, right? Right behind Bautista.
Yeah, I was trying to get to the AL League leaders to see how many categories he's in over there. But I haven't gotten that far yet.
Little rain starting to fall at the ballpark.
I don't do rain delays. Sorry.
Well, thanks for coming, Tom.
Well, I mean, it's a bonus. You guys didn't think I was going to be here anyway.
Yeah, true. Pleasantly surprised.
Where did you get that clause in your contract?
I don't know. It's in there somewhere. I look hard enough.
Looks like one of the old Brock umbrellas there. That lady had on a hat that's an umbrella.
Deep short. Lugo can't get Britton, who hustles down the line and legs out an infield hit and is a little gimpy as he walks down that first base line.
And he's trying to fight it off as much as he can here in the 5th inning with a 2-0 lead.
He's trying not to even look at Kirby, his first base coach.
Right about now, he's wishing it was Little League and they could have a courtesy runner for the pitcher.
A little slip step there, too.
Yep. Well, that's the youthful over-exuberance.
You know what? That pitching toe. He's pointing at that like somehow like he had a stutter step because of that. I wonder if he just stuck it in the grass. Right past the bag. Like he was doing it more with his right foot, though, than his left. Now he's going to stay in the game. He's fine.
Yeah, so Tex, second in the league in homers.
Yep.
Second in the league in RBIs. Didn't make it.
Rain coming down a little harder at the ballpark as Beachy clips J.J. Hardy. Boy, the 9, 1, and 2 hitters have been on base every time in this game. And it's been the odd innings that have given Brandon trouble today.
He's got his jersey. Trying to keep the ball in on J.J. after the first 2 singles. I see a lot of blue sky above us, but must be one cloud.
This is Florida weather right here, folks. Sun's out and the rain's coming down.
Markakis 0 for his first 5 in this series, and he's 5 for his last 6 since.
And that one's hit to the right field corner. Britton around third will get the green light. He will score. Hardy's going to be stopped late. Markakis 3 for 3, an RBI double makes it a 3-0 Baltimore game, and there's nobody out.
Hanging breaking ball right out over the plate. And Britton had to run hard again. Now the wind's shifting on us.
Mayhem up here.
It's payback for you talking about the wimpy writers last night.
No, you know, people just don't understand how tough it is.
I mean, my goodness, you're trying to look over notes and write scores down and stuff blowing everywhere. It's a hard job.
Look over there. There they go again. About 5 writers came up to me today and saying, "Oh, so you're calling us wimps, huh?"
Pretty much.
Yeah, we'll show you. Well, look at them.
Don't make them like they used to, do they,
They
Joe
don't.
Simpson?
What that means, though, is that now I got to sit here in the rain. Just to
Whether
prove a point.
Yeah, whether you want to or not.
Mark Reynolds, our Delta on deck hitter. And he's had a destructive series. 2 homers last night, to his credit. Said it didn't mean anything because we didn't win the game. He's added some thunder to their lineup. Three's manageable. 4 or 5 might be tough. Popped up. The wind is going to push that ball toward the dugout. And Freeman makes the catch, and somebody does cover home. Chipper Jones was there. Big out.
Good heads-up play by the 39-year-old. Wasn't a spectator. He was watching what was going on. Nice play by Freddie right in between the cameras. Wayne Berry's made that play many times over there in the camera well, but this time you let Freddie get it.
Can barely see Wayne down there. He's well camouflaged.
I can hardly see any of the camera operators today.
Ball, no strikes.
This range lasted a little longer than it did last night. Played on through last night with no problems, but this one's not showing any signs of letting up.
Well, we don't have the ground crew lining up by the tarp, so that's got to be a good sign.
Yeah, why would they? As Joe said, look, blue sky.
Yeah, if we were playing at the old stadium, I don't think we'd be getting rained on.
You're right. Got a little cell right over us, gentlemen, but it's moving away.
How about Beachy? Second out of the inning, second and third for the Orioles.
Odd, though, it's his first strikeout since the second inning. But he's definitely had to pitch out of trouble today. Had the second and fourth innings to breeze through, but the top of the order, and like you said, the pitcher is almost considered the top of the order today. That's what's given him problems.
Jumps ahead of Derek Lee at 0-2.
It's like maybe he's tired of making mistakes with that off-speed stuff. A lot of fastballs to Jones, Reynolds, and now Derek. I don't know what it is. I mean, that ball was above the tunnel down the right field line to the opposite field. But there's something about guys like Derek Lee. Galarraga was the same way. When they hit a ball, fair or foul, it just sounds like a firecracker going off.
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys that just the sound of their bat, point of contact, is just so much different than anybody else. I don't know, bat speed or strength, I don't know what it is, but
just always sounds like they hit it right on the sweet spot.
he's throwing nothing but fastballs. Eventually here, he's going to try to get him to chase a slider.
He popped one up. Wind might play some tricks with that. You've got the rain with which to deal too. And Julio Lugo makes the play. Well, Baltimore got one. It could have been a whole lot worse. Beachy did a heck of a job to pitch out of a major mess. Orioles add to their lead. It's 3-0.
Hey Braves country, this is Todd Robinson with Sherwin-Williams, former Army Ranger. For today's tribute to our troops, Sherwin-Williams has made a donation to our USO. From everyone here at Sherwin-Williams, thank you, and Rangers lead the way.
And thank you, Todd, and thanks to our friends at Sherwin-Williams for their sponsorship of Braves baseball here in 2011.
Painting the corners. Sherwin-Williams painting the corners, and we do Fox tracks. Coming your way later today. Now just doing a little painting on the mound.
You bet. Rain's still coming down, but no sign of a stoppage. And I know Tommy will be here for what should be a great day in Braves history. We will retire Bobby Cox's uniform number 6. The Cubs will be in town on Friday, August 12th. And good tickets available for that game, that entire series. Braves.com/tickets. Get them by phone at 800-745-3000.
Should be a fun weekend there.
It's also going to be I'll call it an old-timers game, but a softball celebrity game played before that Friday night game, too. There, I think maybe Saturday night's game for the old-timers game. That'll be fun, too.
And a lot of the 91 team is coming back, I hear.
Yeah, it's a semi-91 year reunion as well that weekend. So a lot of the guys have committed to come back. So should be fun to see a lot of those guys.
That's great. See, that's one of the side things, one of the sidebars, I guess, of the wonderful part of winning is the connection it ties you guys together and does for the rest of your lives, always being a part of something like that.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you see it with a lot of other franchises, obviously, that are storied and, have had some success. And, certainly for the Braves now, with the success that this organization had through the 90s and up to now, you're starting to get to that point where you're being able to honor some of those teams for some of the things that went on. So for me as a player, it's fun to be a part of that. It'll be fun to see a lot of those guys, like you say, and just you kind of forever have those connections, which, it's neat to be a part of it.
I remember, too, it wasn't that long ago, but several years ago when people would ask Greg Maddux, ask you, ask Smoltz, ask Chipper, whatever, about, what about the Hall of Fame? Is that something you think about, and all this success you're having and all these marks you're having? And I remember Greg specifically, and I'm sure you did too, usually answer that with, maybe someday I'll look back and appreciate it, but right now I'm just kind of playing.
Yeah, when you're playing, I don't think you really don't look much beyond, long-term the season that you're in, but mostly it's just a microcosm of where you are. You're worried about or trying to build upon the last start that you had. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do better or continue to do well in your next start. So everything you do as a player is you're living in the moment, you're living in the now, and you really don't have a lot of time to think about what's down the road. I mean, that everything you're doing at that given time is going to be building blocks to somewhere down the road, hopefully you'll be in that position. But I agree. I mean, I even now when people ask me about the Hall of Fame, it's like, I don't really think about it unless people ask me about it. And when they do, you take time to reflect on the career that you had and things that happened. But it's not. I don't know. There's many players really at all that just kind of spend their days digging themselves and thinking about what they did.
But certainly that 91 year was obviously the breakthrough year for the franchise collectively and for you individually too. First time you won 20.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was so unexpected on so many fronts. Me personally, us as a team. I mean, I've done a handful of interviews in preparation for that weekend, and it's it's kind of the same thing. You think about it, and it was. We went into spring training that year hoping we would get over 500. We just wanted to maybe get into third place and compete. We were coming off 3 straight 100-loss seasons, so even for us to think about finishing third or finishing close to 500 was pretty lofty. I mean, those are high expectations, but it was just one of those years where everything kind of came together, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, in 92, I know my first year here when the season started, they had the giveaway poster to honor Terry Pendleton. They had the one of you from the Cy Young Award, and I think my son Gabe still has that picture of you with that mini mullet you had working.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
It was nice. The mullet was big still then.
Yeah.
First pitch, Nate McLouth, Derek Lee. Easy play. 1 out.
Speaking of dues, Chip has promised Chipper some time ago that if the Braves won 10 in a row, he would get one of those Bro Hawks.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I can't imagine you.
It's either that or the
cutting
eyebrows.
Cutting that coif or whatever.
Either that or we'll Bro Hawk the eyebrows.
Not enough clippers on the face of the earth.
Here's Lugo. I don't believe the Braves have a ball out of the infield since the first inning. That's how dominant Britton has been on the mound today.
Sinker, 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 sinker.
Moving the ball around, changing speeds, and Braves are going up there hacking at the first pitch, and he's made the first pitch a good one.
Especially after the long delay between innings pitched for him, running the bases and then waiting for the grounds crew to do their thing. Thought they'd be a little more patient. Lugo is.
And he's rewarded. 1 out walk. Second walk in as many innings for Zach Britton. Wilkin Ramirez will pinch hit in the Atlanta fifth.
It's an early hook for Brandon, but if he was behind 1-0, he'd probably hit. Down 3-0, got to try to get some offense going.
Well, you've got to try and get some offense, and then you have the benefit that the bullpen hasn't really been used much over the course of the last 2 games. So you're not in a position where you need your starting pitcher to get deeper into the game. So all those factors come into play here, and Freddie's going to try and take a shot at it.
And he'd thrown 82 pitches.
Wilkin Ramirez has a hit with the big club. That hit was a double.
Got to make him get the ball up.
The Braves continue to be encouraged by the progress of Martin Prado. He's taken batting practice now all 3 of these games against Baltimore. So he's nearing a return for Atlanta. And again, guys, one glaring statistic that pops out is the Braves' struggles to hit for a high average against left-handed pitching. And Britton adding to those woes today. That's through the hole. Pinch hit single for Wilkin Ramirez, and the tying run potentially to the plate. Jordan Schaefer, the batter.
Always makes you feel good to come off the bench and contribute, but especially if you're not playing that much. Wilkin can hit a fastball.
Yeah, we've talked about a lot. I mean, that job right there is one of the toughest in baseball, to not get a consistent number of at-bats and then come in situations like that and try and do something to help the team. But it was good at-bat, got a pretty good pitch, really, fastball in the other half, but was able to drive it through the hole rather than hitting the ground ball at somebody.
Back to your point a minute ago, though, Chip, about their struggles against left-handed pitching. Braves have 5 left-handed batters in the lineup today that are only left-handed batters. So part of that is, as good as Hayward, McCann, and Freddie are on a day-to-day basis against lefties, a couple of the other guys aren't. Need the right-handers to pick up some of that slack.
Schaefer with a bunt. Britton has to hurry and didn't get it.
I wonder if that ball was wet when he picked it up, because he got there in time, had time to make the play, but didn't seem to put anything on the throw.
No, he was a little cavalier about his toss.
That's one that you see left-handers a lot of times. They get over there and their momentum's going so fast they make that throw that a lot of times they fall into foul territory. But like I say, he was kind of methodical in his throw, and I just wonder if that wet grass, he didn't feel like he had a good grip and he didn't want to throw it down the right field corner.
Schaefer's 6th infield hit this year sets it up for the Braves, who got a grand slam last night. Now they've got Jason Hayward up with the bases full.
At first and third, 1 out in the first, and didn't get a run in as Britton got tougher. And here's a left-handed batter again. It was McCann in the first that he struck out.
Jason came in at 175 against left-handed pitching. He's 0 for 2 today, although Davis robbed him of a hit with a diving play to end the Braves' third.